we are on to the latest news around the NFL first. We'll talk about that, and then we will talk about the NBA news. So, with that being said, NFL news. Trey, what's the latest you got?
Latest breaking news. Pittsburgh Steelers signed running back Kalen Balaj. Yay.
That's a good one. I like
Um,
that.
you trying to be funny, but
No, I'm serious. I like it. You seen that boy when he was with the Jets? Or what was it? Yeah, the Jets. Yeah,
It's
he was with
sad.
the Jets. He
It's
was
sad when
balling.
you have to. It's sad when you have to go. Wait, which thing?
Then
yeah,
he got released.
he was been well. I don't know. To me, somebody asked me how I felt about it earlier, and my thoughts are it can't be any worse than anyone we have currently on the roster. And I'm glad it's not Connor, so that's a
Mm,
plus. I still think we're gonna address it in the draft anyway, so this could just be a depth type of thing, and who knows if he even makes the final 53. So I'm not too much concerned about it. In other news, seems to be a trend here as far as people getting swerved on, which we'll talk about when we get to the NBA in a certain person, Mr. Aldridge. I'm looking at you, but not him right now. Tyson Aluwalu, who initially agreed to a deal with the Jacksonville Jaguars to lead the Pittsburgh Steelers, seemed to have a change of heart. And he has now re-signed with the Pittsburgh Steelers on a 2-year deal. Big, big coup for us to keep him. So the whole thing that happened with that is more or less he he agreed in principle. Obviously, they couldn't sign. You know the first. You had that legal tampering period where you can agree to deal, but it's not official till you go sign a contract. Obviously,
mhm.
so he agreed to the deal. He's about to be out. He catches COVID, so he has to be quarantined. He's still in Pittsburgh for that 10 days or whatever he has to stay and get the positive test and all that. So the boys and the coaching staff, they're like, "Oh, you still here?" And they kind of just they talked him out of it, and he decided to let Jacksonville know, "Yeah, nah, I'm good. I'm gonna stay where I'm at." So I'll take it. That was some good news for me personally.
Right.
Um, not a starter by chance, but he did play a good 60 toward 70% of the snaps. So like he's used a lot. He more so is he can fill all positions on the D line. So as far as he can play in, he spells Cameron Hayward. He can play nose tackle. That's his primary position. So he's a big piece in uh Vick knows as far as with the first time I believe we played the Ravens, he was a key contributing factor in the Ravens being able to run on us the way they did without him being out there. It made a big difference in games when he did play our run defense versus when he does not play. So actually was a key key move in being able to retain him. So happy to hear that. Um, I think outside of that, as far as me, I don't have any other real big NFL news. Unless y'all had anything. Only other thing I can think of is Jameis Winston had some comments about, uh, you know, they asked him more or less how he felt about the Bucks winning the Super Bowl, and he just, he kind of gave his like praise to the organization, and he was like, he want to be able to, toss Lombardis from trophies one day. Knowing James and his eyesight, I know he got the laces, but it probably would have fell in the water, but it's neither here nor there. And he likes to throw interceptions and fumbles and stuff like that. So, but all jokes aside, um, I think it was a classy statement by Jameis. I don't know if there's any bad blood anymore, or if there was ever bad blood on his part more so. I don't know how that goes. My boy just wants to eat W's, y'all. That's it.
Mhm. Yeah, I heard that same interview. I think was it All Things Covered with Brian McFadden
Yes.
on his podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, he was just saying that he wished he could have been a part of it, but yeah, at this point, he's just trying to. He's thankful for his position. He's ready to compete, and
Man, ain't no
yeah,
competition. That boy got that job.
yeah, we all believe that. We all believe that. But
I
he's being
know.
humble about it.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of talk. It's a lot of jokes about Jameis again, right? Like I said, but
Yeah.
he got some talent. I don't believe Taysom Hill is just not it. So nah.
Other than that, I don't. I'm pretty sure we didn't really talk about it, but the Bucks pretty much have brought back everybody besides AB, which I don't think AB is coming back to Tampa, but if he does, that's cool. Um,
Baltimore, do your thing.
yeah, I don't think Baltimore is gonna take the risk on him, especially he's probably trying to ask for a certain dollar amount. I don't know. I would do it if I was the Ravens front office, but at the same time, the way that them Twitter accounts be hitting with Marquise and all them boys, I don't think. I think that might be a problem if AB decides he wants to act up. But I would take faith, you know, still give him a contract that's gonna not be too much guaranteed to say. If he does act out of character, or so much he gets out of line to say, I would definitely have some incentives in there or some uh, contract language to where if he does certain things, then that guaranteed money or the incentives that he potentially get would be revoked. But that's it. That's all I got. So I guess on to basketball.
Well, hold on. Did you
Steph.
have anything real quick? I'm sorry for the.
Oh no,
Spencer.
I had them.
Yeah, he
Okay.
said no.
The only other thing I did have that we didn't touch on last episode, and I think it's a low key move, but I think it might make a significant difference. The Chiefs signed defensive tackle Jaron Reed, who was released
Yes.
by the Seattle Seahawks, which you're adding him on the D line along with
Chris Jones
and the boys. So I don't know. That might be a
Chris-
nice little addition.
Chris Jones, and as Travis Kelsey was saying during the Super Bowl, 5'5". Clark.
Yep. So you got Frank Clark, Chris Jones, and now you got Reed. Put him in the middle of them boys. 1 year, $7 million deal. Not really much risk there.
Yeah.
And like I said, they did bring in, who was it that they worked out? We were talking about it. It's another DN they had worked out.
Melvin Ingram.
Melvin Ingram.
He didn't get signed, but there's no telling if he might potentially end up signing back at a later time. But it seems like they're trying to bolster their D line, which would be smart.
Makes sense.
From the reports that I got, Melvin Ingram and the Chiefs camp, they weren't on agreement with the dollar amounts, so that's why Melvin Ingram left. So I guess it's all about the money. I don't know, maybe the guaranteed money or the incentives. He just didn't agree with it. They weren't seeing eye to eye, so that's why that deal
but
come up.
as time goes on, you still sitting out there.
Yeah, people
Your
get desperate.
value,
It's like
your value.
you're trying to play this year. Our offer's still here. It don't seem like nobody else is gonna give you what you're looking for. So that's why I'm saying it might be a chance that he still does end up there, but we'll just see.
And I believe the Ravens brought him in too for a visit, but they didn't. I mean, defense is something that everybody definitely comes to Baltimore for. So we'll see. But anyways, with that being said, basketball.
Yeah, because you said Ravens and I just got tired.
I mean, that's expected from a Steelers fan.
I got sleepy.
It's mutual.
I got sleepy, boy.
Yeah.
All right. So Spence, yeah. NBA.
We can talk about them playoff hopes. I get you sleepy.
Well, anyways, well, for the NBA, well, of course we. All right, All right, Trey, let's get it. Let's get it over with. Let's get it over with. All right, so LaMarcus Aldridge, we got bought out by the Spurs. He was a free agent. Rumors he was supposed to come Miami. Pat said, "Oh yeah, it's a done deal, baby." All of a sudden, on Friday, I get on message, and he signed with the Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah.
So if people lost track of what's going on, let me help you out. The Brooklyn Nets not only have Steve Nash as their head coach now, their new head coach, but in 1 year, they have acquired Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, James Harden, Blake Griffin, and now they have LaMarcus Aldridge. Those people together, minus Steve Nash, has been in the All-Star games 47 times. You have almost 3 people that were NBA MVPs. 2 guaranteed, 1 maybe. And you have 2 players now who were on teams that thought, oh man, they're out of their prime. Blake had just caught an alley. Blake hasn't caught an alley in 2 years. He caught an alley. And it was like rookie Blake Griffin caught alley. Like, what is going on, guys? What is going on? But on the other news, the Lakers have signed Andre Drummond. Took you long enough. Took you long enough. Was it
richer?
Was it the Magic game that you realized? Okay, okay, fine. Was it that? Was it that game? Which one?
It probably had to be that game.
Probably, but other than that, gentlemen, there's some players are getting signed 10-day contracts right now. There's a lot of them right now that are trying to keep up. But as in the big names so far that are out right now, it is LaMarcus Aldridge is now with the Brooklyn Nets, and Andre Drummond is with the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yeah, I mean, they're looking like the Cleveland Cavaliers without Brown out there.
They almost lost to the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Exactly. All right, so LaMarcus Aldridge.
I just want to say, you will always be up. Never mind.
Cool. Well played. Swerved us. Everything I had heard from since he was bought out was Miami was the clear head strong favorite. And like Spence said, I thought it was just pretty much a done deal.
Done deal. Yeah, your jerseys.
Pat Riley typically gets what he wants for the most part. And okay. Well played. I see you. Makes sense. Go attach yourself to the Brooklyn Nets. Easy path, right? Cool. Thing is, everybody's getting so hyped, right? For me, and this is I still would have took LaMarcus Aldridge. So this isn't me being salty because he didn't sign with the Heat. This is me being truthful. Since he left the Trailblazers and he was with the Spurs, they tried to put the team around him. You know, once Duncan was gone and Kawhi was gone, and where have the Spurs been? Okay. Blake Griffin. Everyone's making a big deal about him going to the Nets too. But like Blake Griffin said himself, he's been hearing for 2 years how trash he was. So to me, it's kind of like it's a lot of people trying to paint the narrative and make them better than what they are now that they're with the Nets, which potentially can have somewhat of that effect when you're playing with Harden and Durant and Kyrie, right? So, but let's not sit here and act like they're still all-star level players because they haven't been playing on an all-star level in at least 2 years. So let's not act like they're the same Blake Griffin that he was, and he's not the same Marcus Aldridge that he was. Good pieces though, great pieces to have to add to what you already have. And you didn't even mention DeAndre Jordan. That's a big piece of the puzzle too. So I mean, that's depth. That's Durant's not on the floor. You still got enough pieces. Kyrie's not on the floor. So it's like you really should never have a situation where you know how most teams when when the star players sit out, there's a drop off where
It
they
just
bench
stops.
when they bench like there's not really a score or anything. You should really never have that issue with this roster that you got right now. You should be able to keep at least one of the big three on the floor at all times at this point. So that is the pluses to it. But people who are making it seem like they just built this crazy super team and this and that, it's just like it was a super team, I guess, with just Kyrie, Harden, and Durant. But don't act like Aldridge and Blake Griffin like just made it crazy. I still think Golden State was probably looking at Golden State probably was better all around than this team until I mean might have to be proven different if we see what they do, but I don't know. They still gotta. It's no guarantee that they're gonna win the finals, let alone win the East. So we'll see how that goes. As far as the Lakers though, and Andre Drummond, good pickup for them. Um, I know they were quiet during free agency or free agency, the trade deadline, more or less, and everybody was like, well, Spence actually came on here and he was talking to you, Vic, and he was like, yeah, really? Y'all ain't gonna do nothing? Like LeBron
Nothing.
out,
Nothing.
LeBron out, AD out. You just sitting around like everything's cool. Like you, that's it. Y'all just gonna give up.
Surprise.
So
Look,
I guess they were just waiting for the right moment. So they did it. Andre Drummond is a Laker. So now is this just a foregone conclusion that we're gonna see the Nets versus the Lakers in the NBA Finals? Find out next time on Dragon Ball Z because I'm still not 100% sold on that just yet. I think the guys on the basement of of LA, I think the Clippers got a little something to say about that still, just maybe with Rondo. I think that's going to be a key addition over there.
oh,
And I think my boys in Miami, I'm not saying we'll beat them in a 7-game series, but it ain't gonna be no walk in the park. I can tell you that. All right, Vic.
Uh, yeah, well, to the Lakers, first thing first, with Andre Drummond, good low key signing. Uh, wasn't expecting that. Obviously, there was a lot of people that were, well, not obviously, but there's definitely a lot of Laker fans that are definitely happy about it. But, to me, biggest thing, again, as we talked about before, Lakers have to make the playoffs. Otherwise, this move is for nothing. Um, so we'll see what they can do. In the meantime, still no AD, obviously still no LeBron. So we'll see. But for the Brooklyn Nets, and again, just back to Andre, I'm not gonna act as a Laker fan that Andre Drummond is this all-world talent. He's what he used to be. Because the same thing that we could say, what I'm going to get ready to say about the Nets, it's the same thing I feel about Andre Drummond. Um, you got Blake Griffin and LaMarcus Aldridge. Uh, Blake, I was never high on, but he has talent. LaMarcus Aldridge, I was a big fan of his when he was in Portland. Um, he basically has been a shell of himself since those days. Um, Obviously, even if they're not so much as to say what they used to be, the fact that you have KD when he does get healthy, if he's able to stay healthy, whenever that time comes. Kyrie and Harden, like Trey was alluding to, the fact that they have that amount of talent on their team, the amount of like different setups, lineups that they could possibly put out on the floor.
Mhm.
There's no reason why their team's scoring or defense should drop off dramatically. They have different ways that they can play the game, so it's really a good look for the Brooklyn Nets. Um, to me, I still see them as a legitimate contender to win it all. Um, but at the same time, it's all about how all those pieces, um, you know, mixed together. If they can get a good rhythm, a good rotation. Obviously, players have to be willing to take in a rotational role and whatnot. So I think they are pretty much all on board about that because if they weren't, they wouldn't sign with the Brooklyn Nets and go elsewhere. So we'll see how that goes. Um, but I like both
Yeah,
the
looks good
signings.
on paper for sure.
Yeah,
It
Um.
looks good on paper. But
you got a comment? Thanks.
Oh well, it's just that I is that first sure they may look overpowered, but like I told Trey, I'm telling you, Vic, look, I don't care if the Brooklyn Nets, the New York Mets, the New Jersey Jets, Heat and six. Okay. And two is that the Nets, like you guys said, with the ways they can able to put different people in different scenarios in their lineup, the scoring differential shouldn't really drop. It should keep it as a consistent basis. But the only thing that's problem with the Nets right now is their defense because yeah, they're scoring amazingly, but like their pass game against not Portland Pistons, the Pistons, they were they were kind of ahead, but the Pistons was like it was a neck and neck game for like almost like a certain minute. So that's why I like the Mavericks. The Mavericks, the same thing. They'll outscore you. That's why they got more defensive players. So for like the Nets, it's cool. They got all these players, I guess, for like rotational roles and everything. But man, that defense still got to get a little bit better because none of those people sounds defensively to me. A
well,
lot of
Yeah,
scoring,
we'll see.
a lot
It's
of
a
high.
lot of basketball left. Let's just say
It's
that.
it's a lot of firepower. I'm hearing a lot of firepower. Just
We'll see. But
no shields.
I'm with you though. Um, I think it was either Bam or Jimmy, either or. But I agree with what they said. That's the only thing that matters here, in which they said that the Miami Heat, we are the defending champions as far as the Eastern Conference goes until proven otherwise. So until we're eliminated from the playoffs or don't qualify for the playoffs, we still are the champions. So with that being said, we can go on to the next topic.